Hey, welcome to my show, the Gordy Steam Corner. And what we've got here is a boiler we put in some time ago. Um, and this is, I think we put this in before I was making YouTube videos. And so I just want to make one today. And I hope I share with you some of my feelings on this particular boiler. Um, let's see, there's the rating plate and the model number. A little bit hard to see, but I think we got it. And the controls are on the right side of the boiler in the front. Um, One of the things I like about this model is that the sight glass fittings are very well made. These rods are brass. I tried buying them separately and they just won't sell them to me. Fine. And the slip rings inside the nuts there are stainless, which is a nice thing. There's our drain valve for the sight glass to allow the sight glass to be tested and kept clean. In this particular one, I used a street 90 and a full port drain to allow a good flushing on this. The water level is the water is very clean in this boiler today, even after years of operation. The wet return was copper prior to our arrival. It's 3/4 inch, and I tied on with a 1 inch, and this is the Harford loop. I was doing it there. We've got a stainless steel street 90, 1 inch stainless steel street 90, going into a cast iron fitting for the return and the Harford loop. Nowadays, I'm changing that to stainless, but other than that, it's pretty much, I might have used extra heavy on that. I don't remember. There is the 30-pound pressure gauge, which is required by code. As you can see there, it's got an internal siphon, which makes it twice as useless. That's what comes with, and so there we are. So what we do on this particular system, which is a 2-pipe Trane convector system with Trane traps, we've got a vapor stat on a pigtail. That's it, and this is the low pressure gauge that we install, and to make sure that the pressure is kept below at least a half a pound at maximum. So in this particular unit, the outlets are in the rear. They are 2 inch. We put it in the drop header configuration, and we used 2.5. I believe this is probably oversized. I can't remember. I'd have to look at the instructions, which are unfortunately not visible here. And then there's the outlet, which is 2.5 inch. And the customer has insulated this pretty nicely, actually. And then, of course, this is the equalizer line, and the Harford loop is shown earlier. This is the VXT, which this was added not with the jig. This was put in with the caddy split rings, and then built in situ. The shut-off valve which we added. This is a rocker arm there. The other disadvantage, which on this particular force boiler, is that the flue collector's in the front, and this particular installation that necessitated a rather three-dimensional puzzle to get it around to the stack there. In moving forward, what we started doing is putting this on a T and a plug to make sure this was clean. But again, there was no evidence of any water, of any dirt. It's been a while since we've seen this boiler. Again, I was very gratified that it was clean. It's another ordinary drain valve. This is to allow flushing of the water across the bottom. We did that earlier. It wasn't a whole lot. The skim tapping is 1.25 inches. Inch and a quarter is kind of like an afterthought almost. I think nowadays with the oils being quasi-soluble, the skimming is not as necessary, I think, in these days. It all depends on the formulation. And the other thing about this particular model, which is a little bit of a nuisance, is that the status of the low water cutoff, whether it's in low water condition or whether it's in intermittent level test, is not immediately visible. As you can see, sometimes what I've done is I've mounted a reflective tape or sometimes a mirror here, so this could be easily visible, like so. Again, this is a tube pipe system. And so this is this is the supply, and this is the dry return, because we're above the water line. And there is the main vent for the dry return. The supply has its own vent at the end of the main in the front of the building, which then, of course, gets rid of the steam on the main part of the show. And then this takes over to get the steam out of, to get the air out of the system, the convectors and so forth, and the rest of the house. And then that drips down, picks up the wet return. The wet return really is only picking up startup condensate, so it doesn't need to be full size. And there we are. So I hope this was helpful, and hope to see you on the next one. And in the meantime, happy steaming.